Look up at the night sky. It seems vast, dark, and empty. A tranquil void, until you see what's actually there. Just above our heads, low Earth orbit is a highway of astonishing speed and density. Thousands of satellites, derelict rocket bodies, millions of fragments, all in rapid motion. Each orbits Earth at roughly 17,500 miles per hour. At this velocity, even small collisions become catastrophic. Any collision is catastrophic, multiplying debris through fragmentation. We built vital infrastructure in a minefield of our own making. Over the next minutes, we will uncover why voluntary fixes fail, how mandatory control changes the physics and the economics, the hidden failure modes of centralization, and the hard choices about who leads, who pays, and what happens when things go wrong. The problem of space debris is not static. It is accelerating. The United States Space Surveillance Network follows more than 30,000 objects larger than a softball. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. Over 1 million pieces between 1 and 10 centimeters and hundreds of millions smaller remain untrackable. Each is a potential bullet aimed at operational satellites. Weather forecasts, GPS navigation, global communications, all are exposed. Voluntary guidelines promote deorbit plans, graveyard orbits, and data sharing. Think of it as a neighborhood watch in low Earth orbit, but the surge of mega constellations overwhelms that model. Not every operator has the resources or the incentives to comply. A single failure, even without intent, can contaminate an entire region for decades. National security missions keep trajectories secret, creating blind spots. Operators maneuver with incomplete information, burning fuel, risking outages. A reactive, inefficient system. As density rises, the voluntary status quo becomes unsustainable. To navigate this challenge, we need a clear plan, from a precarious present to a future with mandatory global traffic control. We will lay out the mechanisms, the consequences of implementation, and the hidden costs. This is not science fiction. It is an overdue evolution of how we use orbit. First, the physics. Why collisions shatter and multiply risk, and how Kessler cascades begin. How a single event escalates into persistent, unusable orbits. Then, how rules reshape costs, markets, and innovation, and the new failure points created by centralized control. Finally, the payoff. A resilient, equitable, effective system, and the trade-offs to get there. The baseline reality of low Earth orbit is one of increasing density. We are tracking tens of thousands of large objects. The launch rate is accelerating dramatically. Companies plan tens of thousands more for global internet, huge benefits, and a fundamentally altered orbital environment, like turning a quiet road into a 12-lane superhighway overnight. More traffic means more chances for a crash. This is the Kessler syndrome, described by NASA scientist Donald J. Kessler in 1978. Collisions do not dent. They shatter into thousands of pieces. Fragments spread into new paths, crossing others. A destructive feedback loop. Critical bands can become impassable for new spacecraft. A few events can alter orbits for generations. In 2009, Iridium-33 collided with Cosmos 2251, producing nearly 2,000 trackable pieces. Many remain, forcing routine avoidance maneuvers. GPS guides, airplanes, ships, and tractors. Weather satellites feed life-saving forecasts. Comms satellites carry vast amounts of global data. A debris cascade could cripple these services. Supply chains, markets, and emergency response would feel the shock. The fire that starts in space does not stay in space. If this raises questions for you, tap like to help others find it, drop a comment with the failure mode you think is most overlooked, and subscribe for the next scenario. The price of safety. New rules and unintended burdens. Mandatory traffic control would immediately cut collision risk. Rules would make satellites trackable, and in most cases, maneuverable. A central clearinghouse, or a coordinated network, would monitor paths and issue deconfliction commands. Unified protocols would replace today's ad hoc emails and calls. Near misses would plummet, preserving key orbits. But compliance adds propulsion, standardized transponders, and 24/7 ops. Mass rises, complexity rises, costs rise on every mission. Large agencies absorb it. Startups, universities, and emerging nations struggle. High barriers can suppress innovation and tilt the field to incumbents. Pre-approval for maneuvers and certifications can slow schedules. The dilemma: ensure safety without suffocating dynamism. The goal is more activity, done more safely, not to lock orbit behind a gate. Well-designed rules act like guardrails, not roadblocks. A centralized traffic system solves chaos but concentrates risk. It becomes a single point of failure. A glitch, a software bug, or a cyber attack could scale harm instantly. Imagine incorrect commands going to hundreds of satellites at once, or a missed alert from a subtle update error. The more we rely on automation, the more its imperfections matter. True resilience needs multiple control centers, diverse sensors, rigorous software V&V, and human checks. That architecture is achievable and expensive. It demands treaties, cybersecurity, and sustained funding. A poorly implemented system could be worse than none at all. Who runs it, who pays, and what comes first? An international body brings legitimacy, but can move slowly. A consortium has expertise, but risks perception of dominance. A private nonprofit could be agile, with strict oversight, user fees, public funding, or hybrids, with equity for smaller actors. Phase in universal ID, maneuverability in crowded bands, and binding disposal rules. These steps reduce risk while the full system is built. Design funding and rules to keep access open as safety improves. A successful system preserves orbital highways for future generations. It enables global internet, advanced Earth science, perhaps even tourism. Space evolves from wild frontier to managed commons. Without equity, it can become a gated realm, reinforcing divides. The deeper payoff: building traffic control is an exercise in global governance and trust. We stand at a crossroads: accept rising cascade risk or build shared governance. The first rules we write for the heavens will reveal our values on Earth, a mirror of our stewardship. If this helped you see the stakes, hit like, add your take on a fair governance model in the comments, and subscribe to explore the next what if. What scenario should we explore next? Share your ideas below. You've been watching F-Verse, where imagination meets possibility. See you in our next reality.